He's piling up there for the Lakers, and it seems like there's this dark cloud surrounding everything that's happening out there. So, Sekou, let me provide a little ray of sunshine for those in Lakerland, right?
I'm looking around here, dark cloud.
Because it's always sunny in L.A., right? It's just this dark cloud there right now. But Lakers were 15-8 when LeBron, Lonzo Ball, and Brandon Ingram all played together. Problem is, last time that happened was on Christmas Day when LeBron went out with a groin injury. So, if you're the Lakers and you look at that, that's a positive you take into the offseason, right? Does that affect what you do going into next year?
Yeah, look, I don't think the Lakers are out there searching for moral victories this season or, something to validate a season that really can only be summed up in one way, and that's as a disappointment given their expectations, adding LeBron James and what they thought they could be in a Western Conference that's still top-heavy and dominated by the Golden State Warriors, but had some openings, Chris, if you really think about Denver moving up and some of these other teams that are moving in the playoff mix. So their plans this summer have to be exactly what they were before the Anthony Davis trade went public, and everybody wanted to take their season apart and reconstitute it as them having to go for AD now and making this huge push. This is the way Magic plotted out in the beginning. 2 years ago, we were out there during training camp. Right. You remember?
Yep.
They had a long-range plan.
Yep.
We didn't know LeBron was the plan,
no.
but Magic made it clear that they had something in mind that was sustainable, not kind of an overnight thing, but something they wanted to do to build for the long term.
They knew it was somebody to say who's point. We didn't know it was LeBron. Most of us thought it was going to be Paul George at first. And it's even before the whole Kawhi Leonard thing. Think about that for 2 years ago. Kawhi was supposed to be happy before the leg injury. But when LeBron showed up, we all said, we've seen what LeBron's done the last 8 years. He's taken teams, put them on his shoulder to go to the playoffs. Before he got hurt, I double-checked my notes. They were in the 4th seed.
Yes, they were.
They were in the 4th seed, knocking on the 3 seed's door. Think about that for a second. And then he misses those 18 games, and they go 6-12, right? The number's right?
It was all good a few weeks ago.
There you go. There you go. You're from New York. There you go. So my question is now to the bigger question is, LeBron's now going to be a year older. What if they don't get Kawhi? What if AD doesn't show up? Who is? What if it's Jimmy Butler? Is it Kawhi? I don't know who it is, but if that's not the right superstar, so-called Sekou, I'm still not believing.
Well, whoever it is going to have to play better defense because the Lakers' last 14 games, you see them 28th in defensive efficiency.
Who's left? I mean,
that's exciting.
Who's left?
So if you make a trade for AD,
who's really excited about this?
I'm just saying, it's like the rest of this season for the Lakers. You got to make some tough decisions, 3D.
Yes.
If I'm the Lakers, we've already said LeBron's on a minutes restriction.
What?
So
now
Ingram,
you
shut him down?
I'm just saying, it's time to start contemplating what to do with this season, 3D.
No, don't shut him down, Sekou. Don't shut him down, Sekou.
3D, one false move. And can you imagine the devastation an injury to LeBron James would put on top of what's already a hugely disappointing season? You got to be careful, 3D.
But Sekou, I understand Magic and Rob what they're trying to do, but I have a friend that bought some tickets for those last 5 games of the season to see LeBron play. Those tickets cost $50,000 in L.A. So you can't shut down LeBron. Do you shut him down? What do you tell those kids that's been waiting all season long? They bought these tickets for the last 5 games of the season. This is their only chance to go to an NBA game, and they want to see LeBron James play.
They're not going to see Lonzo Ball, who's now out for the season.
But LeBron's not hurt. LeBron's not hurt. Brandon Ingram, they said his shoulder, he's hurt.
A lot of people's feelings LeBron gets hurt.
I'm with you, but what do we tell to these fans who spend their hard-earned money, and this is the only time they got a chance to go? We went through this with the Spurs in Miami when the Big Four was down in Miami, Big Three down in Miami. Went through the same thing when the Spurs was playing. And the Spurs didn't play their starters, and LeBron and D-Wade didn't play, and everybody's in an uproar. Yeah. You mean to tell me that Laker fans are not going to be in an uproar?
So here it is officially from Shams Charania. Lakers point guard Lonzo Ball has been shut down for the remainder of the season. Ball had his left ankle reevaluated by doctors today, and sides agreed on course of action. So now Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, both out. Kyle Kuzma missing tonight's game. So when you look at this season, if you're going back in a few weeks from now, you go, okay, who's to blame for what happened with the Lakers who were in the 4th seed at Christmas? Is it LeBron, Magic, or this young core being injured?
It's LeBron's injury.
Is it? So that's why I said in our meeting.
Are you saying LeBron or LeBron's injury?
The injury.
That's why I say when you use the word blame, it's kind of tough because it's the injury. So we're blaming the injury that happened to LeBron.
That changed the entire season.
Yes, because they were right there,
That's the first time in LeBron's career that an injury
Yes.
has affected an entire season.
Yes.
So is this the first sign of LeBron aging?
Welcome to the human race,
Yes.
LeBron. You just happen to be the one guy who could withstand every other internal or external factor that would affect your team's season. He just, if this had happened when LeBron was in his 2nd or 3rd year in the league, it wouldn't change the dynamics of what happened. A severe enough injury kept him off the court and cost them that lofty position they had on Christmas Day, coming off a big win over the Warriors.
Yes.
They had every reason to think they were in store for a huge season. Every game LeBron missed that started stacking on top of each other changed that perception, for me at least. Every game he missed, I started saying, look where they're going in the standings. This could be a long-term thing that costs the Lakers not just the 4th spot, but a spot, period. And that's exactly what's come to pass.
Well, let's try to understand what's happening in L.A. To do that, let's welcome in Bill Oram, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic. Bill, okay, so a lot happening with this team right now. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, both out for the season. What's the game plan going forward with LeBron James? We know there's going to be a minutes restriction. Is there any talk of shutting him down?
Well, the Lakers certainly haven't said that yet. I think that they want to I think they want fans to remain engaged with this team and be excited about this team, at least if it's just the chance to see LeBron James, which I think you guys were just talking about. But at some point, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to keep him on the floor strictly from a long-term standpoint. Obviously, this is still an entertainment business. The Lakers have season ticket holders to keep happy, so keeping LeBron James on the floor has value in that sense. But when you consider the mileage he has, the minutes he's played over the course of his career, once the Lakers are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and I mean, which it will not be long now, but once that actually happens, there has to be a pretty serious discussion about what value is gained by keeping LeBron on the floor versus letting him get a head start on what's going to be the first full offseason that he's had since, he was 20 years old.
We imagine there'll be some roster changes with these Los Angeles Lakers, but Brandon Ingram, after the All-Star break, actually put up All-Star numbers for the Lakers. Should he be, or is he in their long-term plans now that he's performed so well after the All-Star break?
Absolutely. Obviously, what could happen with trades obviously throws a wrench in that. But he was averaging 28 points in the 6 games after the All-Star break. Came back an absolutely transformed player. Everything that he'd been doing kind of in flashes was happening consistently. That's what makes the news about the blood clot in his shoulder so disappointing and sad. It's sad on a human level for a young guy who's been playing so well. Now you have something that it's really. No clear answers at this point. No real sense of how this could impact him in the long term. But for the Lakers, it creates some pretty serious problems as well. If the Lakers had intended to use him to entice a trade for Anthony Davis this summer, I think it'd be pretty hard to trade for Brandon Ingram right now, given what we don't know about his status going forward. And then also he's due that rookie extension by October, and it'll be hard for the Lakers to make a decision on how much to commit to him when they haven't seen him play in NBA games yet. So really, there are some putting the terrible human element aside, there are some really practical implications for the Lakers as they try to build this team for the future as well with this news with Brandon Ingram.
Bill, we know what kind of pressure LeBron is going to take, on his shoulders into the offseason with the Lakers not making the playoffs. Who else goes in to July with a ton of pressure on their shoulders to help fix this? Is it Magic? Is it Rob? Is it both of those guys? Who else has to dig in and help them get out of this mess immediately?
This is Magic Johnson's whole thing. I mean, they took team pictures yesterday. Magic Johnson was at the center of the team photo, and that to me speaks volumes about who's in charge here and who's who this is all going to reflect on when history is written. Magic Johnson is responsible for this roster, which I think has been proven to have had a lot of flaws. He obviously isn't responsible for the injuries that have befallen this team, but this roster was poorly constructed. Did not correctly evaluate what LeBron James would need around him to be successful. So you got LeBron James. That is the best thing that's happened to the Lakers in years and years and years. But now you've wasted a year of LeBron James' career, and that's the worst thing that could have happened to the Lakers. So going into this summer, I think it's incumbent on Magic Johnson, who is the guy. I mean, Rob Pelinka is the general manager, and he's tasked with doing a lot of the day-to-day work. But ultimately, this is going to reflect on Magic Johnson and Jeannie Buss, by the way. Jeannie Buss fired her brother and Mitch Kupchak, a very respected and experienced NBA general manager, so she could hire Magic Johnson. If Magic is unable to get a roster around LeBron, whether that's a second superstar or a more balanced roster that can actually give LeBron the support he needs, if Magic is unable to do that in his second year, I think there have to be some serious questions about whether or not he is the right guy to run this team. I mean, the Lakers are going to miss the playoffs for the 6th straight year, and including a year with LeBron James. That, I think, from everybody's standpoint, is unacceptable. Again, you can't fault Magic for the injuries, and the injuries have been severe. And it's not just LeBron's injury, by the way. LeBron gets hurt on Christmas night, same night that Rajon Rondo suffers an injury to his right hand. He's out for as long as LeBron is. During the stretch LeBron is out, that's when you have the injury to Lonzo Ball. So you've lost your 2 veteran leaders, your young on-court leader in Lonzo Ball, and then you also are dealing with an injury to Kyle Kuzma during that stretch. So that stretch completely derailed the Lakers' season. LeBron was the first domino, but other dominoes kept falling.
Bill, you touched on something to take me right where I want to go. When all the smoke clears, you're not making the playoffs, how long does it take for Jeannie Buss to call up Magic and say, Magic, go ahead and call Rich Paul and figure out how we get Anthony Davis? So with that being said, right now, who are we willing to say we're giving up 1, 2, 3 draft picks to get Anthony Davis in there? Because that's what the fans want. That's what everyone's talking about. How long does that phone call take for Jeannie Buss to call Magic?
I don't know. I mean, Jeannie Buss has really made it her style here that she doesn't really meddle in basketball operations. She lets her basketball people handle that. But at some point, she does have to be the owner. I mean, she is the owner and has been a tremendous owner and a great ambassador for the team throughout the league and the world, really. But at some point, if she's going to have to take the bull by the horns and try to direct her basketball staff if they're not getting it done. The Anthony Davis trade, it's really interesting. And I think the Brandon Ingram thing really is a big piece here, because Brandon Ingram is probably the most appealing, if healthy, the most enticing of the Lakers' young guys. Highest ceiling, obviously a pretty dynamic scorer, and was starting to put it together before he went out with what was originally shoulder soreness, and now we know to be that blood clot. I don't know how a team can trade for him, and you certainly can't trade an organizational pillar like Anthony Davis for a guy who you don't know how he's going to react to medication and what the course of treatment is going to be. I think this Brandon Ingram news really affects their ability to swing a deal for Anthony Davis. Now, obviously, you still have Lonzo Ball, who's going to be dealing with his own injury. Lonzo Ball, who played 52 games last year and is now not even going to get that many in. Kyle Kuzma, obviously, is a great young scorer, but on his own is not enough to get a deal like that done. So you're right, it would take draft picks. And the Lakers have plenty to offer. But if you go back to February, the reported trade offers the Lakers made were basically everything they could possibly give up in the summer. I don't necessarily know that the offer is going to get any better than that. It seems to me like, if anything, it's going to be a watered-down version of what they've already made.
Be interesting to see what the Lakers do in the offseason now that Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, both out for the rest of the season. Bill Oram from The Athletic, thank you for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.